In this video, I'm going to talk about people that I've known that have moved away from the raw vegan diet or the fruitarian diet. I don't know if I want to call it fruitarian or raw vegan. I eat mostly fruit myself. I don't really eat any nuts and seeds, but I am kind of open to eating them now and again. And over the years, I know quite a lot of people who have been doing the raw vegan diet and are no longer doing it. A number of them went back to eating animal products. And I guess it was surprising at first, but I started to learn something quite early on that in this kind of movement, and I sort of thought that everyone was on the same page as me. I thought everyone had learned the same stuff and saw the same stuff, and I gradually started to realize that not everyone has seen the same information, learned the same stuff, had the privilege of learning all the same stuff, had the same experiences as I had, and therefore their point of view would obviously be different, and the way they look at it would be different. And the first year I went to the Woodstock Fruit Festival, and I left that event, I kind of thought everyone's on the same page, you know? Um, and over the years, I've realised that that's not really the case. And you realise that as well when some people say things like they're doubting this lifestyle. And I've heard people say that to me sometimes, and I just know if you're doubting the lifestyle, you've not went really deeply enough into this. You've come across some aspect of your own fear, worry, the propaganda from the past, and you've not like pushed through it. Um, so there's that part of it, I suppose. But it's also about the education. It is about your habits and conditioning from the past. It's about the fact that everyone else is doing something different. You know, if everyone was on a fruitarian diet, no one would go and eat dead animals, I don't think. If there wasn't an example of all the people around you doing it, I don't think you would do it. Um, but yeah, I was delusional enough, I suppose, to think that everyone was on the same page, that everyone was approaching this the same way as me, that everyone at the festival was wanting the same thing as me, I suppose. And I've realised over the years, amazingly enough, that a lot of the people that go to these festivals and events are not necessarily, aren't raw vegan, aren't vegan, haven't even given up animal products yet, haven't really given up anything in their diet yet, don't have any dietary rules or practices yet towards better health, and they're diving into raw foods, kind of out of the blue sometimes. Maybe sickness reasons, performance reasons, spiritual reasons. They just like a particular YouTuber they found. They just want to hang out with them. Reasons. And so a whole hodgepodge of people turn up at these events, and we've no idea where they are in their education and their thinking and how they feel about the whole thing. Um, but what we've also seen is people that have been basically leaders that have been there's at least two people that have taught at the Woodstock, maybe three people that have taught at the Woodstock Fruit Festival that eat meat or have eaten meat, or I don't know what they're doing right now. At least three, two people that would have given talks probably, and one that would have given maybe like fitness class, whether that was an official class or not. And there's probably others. So how do I feel about that when I see people I know, and some of them have gone towards the total carnivore side of things, the meat only diet. Well, firstly, I'm not surprised about it anymore. And I kind of see where it comes from, and that people are open to trying other things if they feel like they're not getting good experiences with their health. Um, I think a lot of it comes from fear around people not getting whatever the particular health results they are expecting to get. And I think what people are not realizing is, firstly, 100% raw is a totally different thing to you ate a lot of fruit. Or you ate a lot of fruit and you had cooked food, and now and again you went raw and then you went back, and then you had junk food and then you went raw again. Like, that's not going raw. That's not a fruitarian diet. That's not the same ballpark as going for 2 years on a raw vegan diet, or 3 years, or 4 years, or 10 years. It's not the same ballpark. And most of the people that come to this movement or a lot of people that have come to this movement are sick and have been sick. And a lot of people even get a good benefit from the lifestyle, but then down the line they feel like it's not giving them what they want. And I've had friends that have told me about real life threatening or life changing diseases that they healed from on the raw vegan lifestyle, and then when they move back to eating meat, they just kind of completely brush that under the carpet. It's really strange, you know, that they gave up meat and that improved their health so much. So that's always strange. Um, Different people are coming through my mind of who I'd put in these categories. And then a lot of people have gone back to just cook food or just vegan as well. Some people have just done that. And a lot of it comes down to, when they say it, they say the diet failed me. It's the fruits that failed me. And they'll say, like, I got these deficiencies and this, and it's all kind of vague stuff, and this changed or that, and teeth issues and all that stuff, and hormones, fertility, I got an erection when I had meat again, or whatever. Yeah, there's a lot of weird stuff that goes on in that kind of category as well. Deficiencies. If you, as soon as you go down the path of I wasn't getting enough of this nutrient, that nutrient, this nutrient, you don't understand nutrition at all. If anyone's teaching you, I mean, in the course I do, I go through that a little bit, like, here's this nutrition, that nutrition, here's this nutrient, that nutrient, how'd you get it? You get it with this. But that's not enough for people. That's not really the thing, because you can show people you can get all the nutrients you want on a raw vegan diet with sunlight for vitamin D. And you can even suggest taking a B12 supplement if that's your particular view on it. Um, but that's not really what it is, because you can show people, well, here's how you get all the omegas if you want. Here's how to get double or triple the omegas if you want. All the protein you need and all that stuff. They'll just kind of say, no, there's magic stuff in the meat or whatever, there's absorbable fats and all that. They'll just make something up because their gurus have made something up. The meat carnivore gurus have made up some pile of absolute nonsense about, whether it's fat soluble or whether it's cholesterol's a nutrient or, or whatever. This stuff has been told over and over again for probably 100 years since the low carb movement put out a thing. And ever since the start of the low carb movement, as the science of nutrition is developed and developed and developed, it's going towards, more and more clearly going towards carbohydrates and away from fats, to the point that meat doesn't even get recommended as part of your diet in the conventional standard guidelines. Might recommend fish, but red meat and white meat and that, I mean, I think fish is meat, but a lot of people wouldn't say that. But it doesn't recommend the other meats. Oily fish twice a week or something. Nonsense again about getting omegas, or some nonsense when it's easy to get your omegas if you want with plant foods. It's easy to get your protein. It's easy to get vitamin A, vitamin K, whatever you want to call them, fat soluble vitamins. And many people get B12 deficiency without being vegan, without being vegetarian. So, and vitamin D gets recommended for virtually everyone in northern hemisphere climates when there's not enough sun, apparently. So, but you can go through all these things with people, and it's not really about that. It's not really about that. It's not about the science around it, and it's not really about nutrition. It's to do with they've been led down the path of not seeing the obvious truth of the fruitarian diet, which is obvious from your body and your instincts, and the fact that you don't get up in the morning and go and smell for animals and go and run after them and kill them with your bare hands. You don't do that. You've not got an instinct to do that. You might do that if you're incredibly hungry. But you would struggle to even accomplish that task. You would struggle greatly, and you'd probably get injured doing it. But you'd have to be incredibly hungry to start doing madness like that. But and it's the same with the cook people. It's all this subterfuge, this thing of like pretending that it's not, that this is something more complicated than what it is. You know? And the way Doug Graham is interesting, because I've always wondered, I'd watch Doug Graham talk and I'd say, why doesn't he break it down into all the different nutrients and how to get them and all that kind of stuff? And I realised it's because he's trying to get people away from thinking like that, because that's not what it's all about. Because you can think about it way more clearly. Every animal has a species-specific diet, which is based on its anatomy, its environment, its design, and which, compared to other animals like it, is very similar. And when we think about it very simply like that, we ask ourselves, how could it not be fruit? How could it be anything other than fruit? It's so bizarre that there's people, even in the raw vegan and the vegan movement, that are like, only a little bit of fruit, not too much fruit, only if you've got local fruit, only if you've got organic fruit. It's mind-boggling. It's really difficult to understand why, but it's because they've been kind of conned into this fractionated thinking of, let's break it down into different nutrients and pretend that this nutrient we need this level and pretend we need that level of that. We don't see animals getting deficiencies from eating their species specific diet. It doesn't happen. So when people say, well, I ate fruit and I got deficiency, like, we don't even know what they were doing most of the time. But we also know that they've probably bought some tests. The tests are probably rigged to make people, to show people being deficient so that the person buys the next thing in the funnel. But if it confirms a person's fear, then that's all it needs to do for the person to go, right, that's me, done with that, I'm going to go back to eating junk food. Because people want to eat junk food. As simple as that. And most of the people that we see going back to eating, whether it's animal products or vegan foods, they just want to go back and eat junk food. This path is too difficult for them. They don't want to deal with their addictions, their emotions, their mind. You know? A lot of them never did in the first place. And it's very difficult. I understand why. It's very, very difficult. So, I feel pretty clear in what I'm doing. If the other people want to flip flop around, do one thing, change around, none of them are staying on meat only long term. They're all eating junk, and so when there was one girl that told me she was a carnivore, and I went to her page and she was talking about having ice cream. Like, that's the reality of this. People lie about their food, they lie about their diet, they lie, they lie, they lie. And people with eating disorders lie and lie and lie. It's one of the things that people will lie so much about because people are embarrassed that they don't have control. They cannot take it. And that's part of it. I mean, I think that's part of it. Anyway, just some thoughts wanted to express, put out there. And feel free to subscribe if you want to follow this journey more. Thank you very much.